Welcome to New Broker, the podcast dedicated to providing insights and inspiration for building a new broking business.
Hello and welcome back to New Broker. Hope you're all having a fantastic week and enjoying the sunshine. Last of the sunshine we seem to be having in Sydney here before all of the millions of rain that we've got planned in the months ahead. So if you're already out on the beach, good for you. Get those last rays of sun. This week we're talking to a new broker in the form of Ali Mehboob from Noor Finance, who's been broking since about November 2024, setting up his brokerage here in Sydney, in Campbelltown, working on a range of different things, but particularly the thing that we're going to be picking his brain about today, sharia finance and Islamic finance. So what does that look like? How do you do it? And how do you make a success of it? In this episode, we're picking Ali's brain to find out how he does it. Thanks for joining me, Ali. How are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Annie.
Appreciate you coming into the studio here in North Sydney to chat to us for the podcast. Bit of a schlep over from Campbelltown, so we appreciate that. Although now with the... Did you take the metro over?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, very, very fast. So we'd love to pick your brain about how you set up your business, Noor Finance, over in Campbelltown. And for anyone who's not met you, because you're a relatively newish broker, how did you get started in this industry?
Sure. So, Annie, I started I started my banking career almost 18 years ago.
Yep.
I worked in different banks and financial institutions. So I worked in Commonwealth Bank, I worked in National Australia Bank, and more recently I was working with RAMS, which is part of the Westpac group.
Yep.
And my goal was clear that I wanted to be a broker. So I was working in the retention team and I did my Cert 4 back in 2024. And after that, the goal was clear to become the broker. And there was some restructuring that happened. And it was actually worked out really well for me that I did my Cert 4 and I decided to start my company in 2024. And Noor Finance came into being at that time.
So a lot of banking background there, but then sort of making the move over to mortgages and then into broking. How did you, what was it that kind of made you think, you know what, I think I'm going to have my own brokerage rather than go and join, a big franchise brand, for example, or a big brokerage brand?
Yeah, so I actually contacted MFAA and I got in contact with the state manager and I had a discussion with him and we discussed different options that are available. I even contacted some of the other brands like Mortgage Choice and Aussie. And after having in-depth discussion, I decided that I think that's the way I want to go down because that gives me that flexibility of having a business of my own business instead of working for someone. So I just wanted that freedom of time and having that flexibility to work at own pace. And that's what Noor Finance is providing me. So I have a lot of time for myself and my family.
Yep.
And I can work from home as well. So that was a decision I took. And I feel it has worked really well for me.
Well, that's a good move. Happy with the decision. You mentioned there about having, different discussions with different groups. So what were you looking for when you were kind of interviewing these aggregators and brokerages? Was there something in specifically that you were like, I really need help with this thing? Or is there anything that you were really looking for from your group?
Yeah, so I actually wanted a good mentor program. So that was really important to me because I was new into broking. So how to do servicing calculation, how to, ID the clients and how to look at different lender policies. So I needed a lot of help in that. And that's why I contacted a couple of aggregators. And then Vision was really helpful in that regards that they explained to me how the whole process will work. And it was a hand-holding exercise and they helped me get on board.
Yeah. So Vision Aggregation now, your aggregator of choice. What is it that you kind of most use apart from the mentoring side of things from Vision? Is it really that kind of business support? Is it around the servicing checks? I wonder what specifically now that you've kind of got your feet under the door and you've been broking for a while, you most value from your aggregator?
Yeah, so the mentor program was for 2 years. But in the first year, I wrote enough business for them to sign me off that you are good to go. But most of the deals that I was placing to the banks, I was actually getting them to have a look at the deal before I submit to make sure that it is compliant. And if there's anything, they can let me know. So for the first 12 to 15 deals. They provided me with that support. Even now, if there is a complex scenario, they are happy to help me as well. Like if there's any self-employed client with multiple income streams, that can throw me off at times. So that's where I get their support as well. But it's been a game changer for me in terms of the mentor program.
Yeah. It's so interesting because you had that banking experience. So kind of, I guess, not writing the loans specifically, but working at the bank. So you already had finance experience. Am I right in thinking you also have a master's in applied finance?
Yes, that was many years ago.
Yeah.
So that I actually did an IT degree back in the day, and then there was a .com bubble, and then there weren't many jobs. So I ended up doing MBA, and then my career started in banking from there on.
So you've obviously got a lot of like intrinsic banking knowledge, but then kind of coming onto the broking side of things and being like, it's a whole different ball game. And I think a lot of bankers are quite surprised when they move over to broking if they haven't been on like a home loan specialist at the banks. They're like, this is actually way more complex than I thought it was going to be, a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. Did you find that? Were you surprised at how much work was involved as a broker, or are you like, nah, it's easy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. First 6 months, I was just trying to get my feet, and it was like, late at night, I'm just, I can't do the servicing calculation or something going wrong, because you have to know multiple banks' policies and then apply online. So I had a lot of help available from the team.
Yeah.
So they helped me with the servicing, also the apply online side of things. And first 6 months, obviously, even today I'm learning, and every day I'm learning something new. So it is a lot of work, especially when you're writing the statement of credit assistance. If you want to make it a nice one and it's compliant, because it's like you're talking to the client. So if you make it vague, it's not acceptable. So there's a lot of things you have to learn before you actually do a good
job.
SOCA.
Yeah. Can you remember what your first loan was, like when you first started?
Yeah, I remember because when I first started, my goal was to obviously help my family and friends. I don't know if you have read Alex Hormozi. He actually talks about there are 4 different ways how you can generate business. So first is you go to your family and friends. Second one is you make regular social media content. Third one is referral partners, and the fourth one is you just put yourself out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I actually focused on the family and friends first. So one of my friend, I wrote a loan for him. So that was consolidating his car loan into home loan, and then obviously reducing his repayment. So he was very happy with the outcome as well. And that was with one of the majors as well. So I wrote that, and he ended up saving money.
Yeah, great. And so you kind of started with your friends and family. I always think this is such a sort of brave first move, because if it goes wrong, you lose all your friends and your family. You're like, well, I'm just going to make new friends now. But thankfully it didn't in this case, and your friend was happy. When you kind of then, how long did it take to get that first deal like over the line? Like I wonder how long, it was before you actually started seeing income coming through from your first settlements.
Yeah, so first 6 months, obviously there was nothing coming through. So it was more about, learning about different lender policies, servicing calculators. But I only picked up few banks initially. So I learned, I picked up Macquarie because their servicing calculator was much easier compared to other banks as well. So the first deal obviously went to Macquarie, and they are really good with broker channel as well. So that was my first deal. First 6 months there was nothing, and after 6 months, like in my first year, I have done around 10 million and written 22 loans. So that
Great.
was the first year. So but first 6 months there was nothing coming in.
Yeah, I think it's always so interesting. Like a lot of brokers ask us, particularly at the New Broker Academy, or if we're doing like a webcast, they're like, what should I be earning in my first year? And I'm like, well, I mean, I can't answer that question, because it's not like it depends on what state you're in, it depends on what loans you're doing, it depends on how much you're kind of getting new business in, and obviously how quickly it is before you write your first loan. So a lot of people are like, I'm going to write 20 million in my first year. I'm like, good luck. That's going to be tough, because as you say, it takes a long time before you get paid. And so kind of like trying to get all those deals and find that business can take a while, and making sure that kind of people, what you're doing and people know what you're doing, and that everything's sort of, going through smoothly can take a while. So yeah, good for you for making a success of your first deal. Do you only write resi deals? Are you doing any other types of loans like SMSF or commercial?
Yeah, I'm also writing the SMSF as well. I did start writing bit of consumer personal loan and car loan as well.
Yep.
But predominantly I'm doing Sharia lending, SMSF, and Resi loans like refinance, cash out and purchase,
Yep.
and first home buyers.
So Sharia finance is so interesting, and I think we've only really started seeing Sharia lenders in the last few years here in Australia. Can you walk me through how it actually works? Because am I right in thinking that in Islamic religion you can't pay interest? Is that what Sharia finance is around?
That's right. So it is actually a different structure. So with Sharia lending, obviously you can't have the word interest in there. So there are different mufti worldwide who actually sit down with these financial institutions, and they actually do a certificate, and that is approved by the Sharia board, and that talks about having an arrangement where you have a principal and rental arrangement. It's not an interest-based arrangement. So basically, the source of funds can be coming from banks as well. That's how a lot of the Sharia banks are operating. So it could be like, just to give you an example, like Ijara Finance, they get their funding from Colcap and Origin, which is the same funder as Granite. Having said that, then they make the transaction halal by having that, or Sharia compliant by having that certificate, and changing that into a principal and rental arrangement.
Right.
So what happens is and that's called the Ijara Finance. In the Ijara Finance terms, the financial institution is basically buying that property. So buying that property and then actually renting it back to the client, and the client actually pays rent over a period of time, and at the end of 30 years they can either gift them for a nominal amount, or they can readjust the purchase price, and that's how it will work. But the ownership will be in customer name from right from the start. So that's predominantly what it is, because there is a change of goods and services as compared to a conventional bank, where if you go to a bank, you say, I want a loan of 500,000, they will have an predetermined interest, and you will pay $500,000 interest over a 30-year period, because it's actually decided upfront, and there is no change of goods and services. That's what's not Sharia compliant. In the Sharia compliant scenario, they are actually buying that property and then renting it out. So there is a change of goods and services, and that's what makes it Sharia compliant.
Okay, so do you have to be Muslim to use it?
Actually, there's a lot of actually in Malaysia there's more Christian people who are actually using Sharia lending for this purpose, because there's a vast variety of different banks, financial institutions who are offering that, but it's open to everyone.
Yeah.
Previously, many years ago, there was that thing where the rental rates were high, but now we are seeing that they are offering a very competitive rate, almost the same as conventional banks.
Okay.
So yeah.
So do you think that many people know about it? Like when you're talking to your clients about Sharia finance, are they aware of it already?
I think there is a bit of a lot of misconception at the moment, because of the rates were a bit high like years ago, and a lot of people actually have a lot of questions. But it's about education, and I make a regular social media content to educate around that as well. Whenever I'm talking to my clients about Sharia compliant, so I actually send them the certificate as well. I send them all the information and have a video conference with the husband and wife to ensure, because at the end of the day, I'm actually recommending that product, and I don't work with all the lenders who are offering, because I look at how they're doing their business as well. So I've picked up only 2 lenders that I've worked with, and those are the ones I'm working with, and they have some great offers like easy refinance policies. They do fully assessed pre-approvals as well.
Yeah, interesting. And so I think that this is something that we kind of, talk about quite a bit. It's kind of been like, well, how can you service, a multicultural country, and making sure that you're kind of offering solutions for loads of different people, not just like, the kind of mum and dad PAYG kind of, traditional Macquarie, let's say, client. You're kind of able to offer a range. You also mentioned there that you're doing some SMSF as well. What kind of appetite are you seeing in that space?
Yeah, I think SMSF is a growing area, and we're seeing a lot of the clients who when they combine their SMSF, they don't realize their potential to buy a property through SMSF. Obviously, they have to seek financial advice that it's for their best interest, but there is a lot of potential in the SMSF space.
Yeah, and we've seen it grown massively the last few years. I think lots of people looking at it and being like, oh, that looks great. And then lots of lenders coming back into the space as well for SMSF, particularly the non-bank space. Although we did actually have A&P recently re-enter the SMSF space as well. So seeing lots of focus on this area. When you think about the kind of loans that you like writing the best, what do you get the most enjoyment from?
I actually love doing the cash out and refinance and then purchase because, and I have some referral partners like buyer's agents where I get some of my leads as well. And I just love because you're talking to the buyer agent, they're sourcing a property and you're finding a good rate and then doing a refinance, cash out and purchase. So it's a great moment for the client because they're buying their investment property. And Noor Finance is a strategic mortgage planning firm and we are helping clients to build intergenerational wealth over a period of time. So that's where when they have their own property, they're looking at buying their next one and so on. And it's not just order taking that here is the loan, these are the features and benefits. We are thinking about long term as well.
Yeah, so kind of being like, this will not only help you, it could help your whole family. Yeah. When you think about the sort of process for writing a loan as well, I mean, we talk a lot about when people have become a new broker, they're like really focused on the training and the education and actually, you know, the serviceability and what it takes to become a broker. But they kind of, I think, often will skim over the actual process of writing a loan because you can be, you know, it can take a while. I'd love to pick your brain about what your process is and how long it took you to actually form the process, and we'll get into it just after this message. So Ali, we talked there about, you know, kind of your first loans and the types of lending you're doing, but how do you actually write a loan? So let's say I kind of called you up and was like, hey Ali, I'm thinking about buying an investment property. What do you do next? Like, how do you engage with the client? How do you take the file from beginning to settlement?
Sure. So my process is basically if the client is getting in contact with me via phone or a message, I have to reply to them either straight away or if I'm busy within the 2 business hour, I reply to them. And that's how I pick a lot of my business because I'm proactive in replying to them and answering their question. Once I have their email address, I actually send them an online link. And that's straight away, even in my first conversation, when I've identified what they want, I send them the link and they complete the online link. I have a subscription with Middle. And they have an amazing platform. So I have actually invested in that right from day one. So client actually completes that. It sends out the credit guide, the consent and everything that is needed and saves me so much paperwork there as well. So both of husband and wife can complete that. Once that is done, then I actually book in a time for a video call and we do a lender recommendation. And 1 week later on, I will just have a discussion where we're going to, first is the discovery call and the second one is the lender recommendation once we have the discovery call.
Right.
Yeah. And then we submit the application to the lender.
So Middle's your main technology you're using to do the kind of fact find. Is there anything else that you use to kind of get to the recommendation, you know, apart from sort of just knowing credit policies or any other sort of tools or support you lean on to get those recommendations finalized?
Yeah, for me, Quickly has been a game changer. As a new broker, it's helped me a lot. And yeah, so it's really good to see, especially it's user-friendly as well. So when you're doing a video call with a client, you can actually share the screen with them. They can see the graphic. Some banks have a higher appetite for a lending capacity, so you can go with them. Some clients, they want a lower rate. So depending upon, some people are actually conscious about their wealth creation. So we put them to a lender where they can create and scale their business later on. So yeah, so Quickly is another good one that I use.
And when it comes to actually sort of finding referral partners and finding new business, so you mentioned already about working with buyer's agents and obviously using your friends and family. How did you find buyer's agents to work with? And do you have any other referral partners?
Yeah, so in terms of our community is strong. So we do have different WhatsApp groups. So I have been added to a few of them, and I have been posting regular content in there as well. So that's one of the ways I do it. But the other way I do it, if I'm working with a client, and especially if they are self-employed and they have an accountant, I create strong relationship with the accountant, and I call them. I get a permission from the client first, and then I explain to them what I can offer, and I explain my niche as well, how I can help them. So the ones that have been working really well is, especially if you speak to an accountant and they have done a accountant declaration for a client maybe 2 years ago on a low doc loan where the rate was like 6.5-7%. Accountants actually want to get rid of those kind
The
of
letters,
letters, and they want client in a better financial position. So we can do easy refinance at a lower rate, which is around 5.5%, and that has saved thousands of dollars. So I got a lot of business through there as well, and then obviously explaining my niche about Sharia lending, and that's how I have built good relationships, and now it's more, it's mostly I'm getting word of mouth, referrals, or through these channels.
Yeah. And obviously when you first started in 2024, kind of end of 2024, getting the word out there as a new broker can be quite hard because there's so many brokers in the industry already, and people already probably have referral relationships. They might already have a broker. So kind of getting that cut through and showing a niche, I think, can be quite important when it comes to standing out from the crowd. Did you kind of ever, just talking about buyer's agents quickly as well, I mean, there's been a lot of focus, I think, on that area in the last couple of years. There seems to have been an explosion of new buyer's agents and a lot of questions being asked about, like, how do I know that I can trust this guy because there isn't very clear licensing. How did you kind of establish a partnership with the buyer's agents that you knew was sort of legitimate?
So I actually, obviously when we have the community groups, we do realize that they are legitimate when they're in that group. But I look at their website, I look at their ABN and all that as well, just to make sure, and they are aligned with my ethical values, where we are looking at clients' best interest, and that is at the forefront of my decision making, whether I want to work with that buyer agent or not. So that's the main thing I look at. And
when it comes to then, I guess, writing loans, so you said like in your first year, you obviously settled quite a bit. Now you're in your almost coming into your third year, second and a half, let's say. So do you kind of now think, you're going to be needing any more support, any more team members? Do you have any plans to kind of grow out who's working with you, or do you think you just want to be working on your own?
I definitely want to grow, and that's why I have hired I've retired my wife, and she has come into our business from last year as a business development manager, and then I've hired 2 offshore staff as well from our family, but they are working overseas, and we are getting them trained and upskilled as well. So what does everyone do? So like, let's say you're now the obviously the principal broker. What do the other 3 members of staff do? So they offshore, the 2 team members, they are actually getting trained to do loan writing in Infinity. So they are going through their training in Infinity. A lot of the Cert 4 stuff, they are going to do like all the loan writing and document collection. And then my wife is actually going to be doing business development. Obviously, she can't give credit advice. She will just be, we have a LinkedIn marketing strategy as well. So she is working on that, and I'm working on that as well.
And I think this is a really core and key point, is that a lot of brokers, when they start out, kind of go, okay, like I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to start writing loans. They kind of forget that you get to a certain size and then you actually have to start developing more business and creating, things like, position descriptions if you want to hire, and having like HR and kind of support for your team, and thinking about, well, how am I going to build the business and how am I going to pay these salaries? So there's a lot of like focus you need to do on the business itself. And I think that's maybe where some people stumble a little bit, is going, I've never run a business before. I have no idea how to do this. And kind of, turning around and being like, I can write the loan, so I just don't know how to be a business owner. Have you ever sort of, found any tools or support or people that have helped you actually grow the business?
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right there. Like these are 2 different things. being a good broker and knowing policies of the banks and then actually running the business, like what your cash flow is going to be, what is coming in, what is going out. That's a different thing. But that's where my wife is helping me as well, because she is very good with spreadsheets. So she's been working on spreadsheets and what's coming in, what's going out as well. And from our aggregator, there is a new program that they have launched. It's called the Success Broker Coach program.
With Ruin Berger.
Yes, that's right.
Success and Broker.
That's right. So I attended one of the sessions. It was really handy.
Great. And I think that's really, we're seeing so much more support, I think, from the aggregators, from mentors, from associations even, kind of looking at helping businesses grow, because this industry's got so big and everyone's doing really well. So seeing like the kind of amount of people that are now hiring staff and running businesses and having to worry about payroll, like that's kind of a whole different skill set, as we said. So there's a lot more support and kind of training, I think, around this. We'll actually be doing something on The Advisor next week. We're doing a live webcast on how to run a business as a new broker. So do tune in for that if you haven't already. It's on the 3rd of March at 11 a.m. Sydney time. But yes, so there's lots of different things that kind of out there at the moment. When you come to actually marketing yourself, so you talked about your wife kind of looking at having a LinkedIn marketing plan. Why and how did you arrive at having a kind of social plan for LinkedIn?
Because I think that a lot of the business that I'm getting right now, it's all word of mouth. But I do feel that most of the clients that we have, they are from our background, from Pakistani community. So we have actually got a LinkedIn strategy where we are sending out invites to people from our community who are doctors, engineers, and who are working in Australia. So I have actually hired a digital marketing company who's helping me with that. Actually, today is one of the appointments they have booked into my calendar. So that's actually worked really well, because with social media, as you know, on LinkedIn, everyone says the truth. But on Facebook and Insta, you can find people saying whatever they want. So that's the thing with LinkedIn. I find you can find some good leads.
Okay, interesting. We're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, I'd like to talk about how you plan to grow your business for the next couple of years, what sort of challenges and opportunities you see in broking, and your advice for new brokers. And we'll get into that just after this break. So, Ali, you've talked there about, how you kind of started your broking career and how you've been growing the team now. But looking forward, so let's say you've done your first couple of years of broking. What do you hope to achieve in your second 2 years of broking, your next 4 years?
Yeah, so we are actually working on setting up a buyer agency as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's something I have enrolled in that as well. So because what I'm finding is I'm doing a lot of the pre-approvals. The clients are going out, they're looking for properties, but they're not buying anything. But I think I feel like there is that space where I can help them with those kind of things as well, where we have done the pre-approval, so we can help them source the property as well. So that's one of the things. And obviously scaling, training the offshore staff, and then my missus coming into the business as well. So that's all together.
And I think this is interesting, looking at how brokers have been building their businesses, because a lot of brokerages now kind of doing the whole full financial services offering, like they might have financial planning support and accounting support and conveyancing support. I've seen increasingly, I think, brokers really kind of bringing in that kind of multifaceted financial services arm. So they're kind of offering everything, which obviously is fantastic for people who can afford to do that, but requires a lot of money to hire all those people to do it. When you think about actually kind of bringing in enough money to cover the payrolls for your family and your support team, are you kind of thinking, I'm going to have to, have you plotted out your cash flow and kind of been like, I'm going to have to write this many loans to cover this salary base? Or are you kind of just sort of hoping for organic growth?
Yeah, so at the moment, my volume is around 2 to 3 mil, but I want to achieve... Yeah, so I want to achieve 4 to 6 million a month. Like target is around 50 million. So consistent 50 million. Once I achieve that, then obviously we can think about hiring more staff or expanding more into that.
When you think about your first few years of broking, then I wonder what were the biggest challenges you had to overcome? Was there anything that kind of really got you stuck or really challenged you that you weren't expecting?
I think in the first month, I actually met one of the successful brokers, and I actually asked him a question that how will I generate the business? So he actually answered me that you have become a broker. So you've jumped into the ship. You would have known how to generate the business. So I was very scared that how the business will be generated. But I was actually blown away that once you know the policies and you help the clients, the business will come by itself. So that's one of the things.
Yeah. So just sort of hitting the ground running, having the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
Has there been anything else that's sort of been really difficult to get to grips with as a new broker? Like anything, whether that's policy or technology or compliance or, I don't know, anything else that sort of has had been really hard for you to achieve in your first couple of years?
I think the thing that was the hardest, policy still is okay because it's all words and you can bounce off each other and get that information. But actually doing the application, because there are different systems like loan app, then you've got the apply online, and every bank has their own way of doing it. And that was very hard as well because you could spend hours doing that, and then but as I said, there was a lot of support available, and that's where it made it easy for me.
Yeah. And then, so we talked about the challenges. What have been the highlights of your career so far?
The highlights have been obviously that I just wanted a community-focused company, Noor Finance. So apart from just writing loans, we have actually supported the community as well. We have sponsored a cricket event where my son plays cricket. Then we have sponsored the soccer event as well, which is one of the soccer clubs as well. And then I went into a badminton competition as well. There was a sponsorship done there as well. So something giving back to the community because I have more time, more freedom, and not just doing a 9-to-5 job. So that is a highlight, I think, giving back to the community.
Yeah. And when you do that, like, are you kind of, let's say if you're sponsoring like a cricket match, are you kind of also walking around and telling people who you are, like trying to generate business while you're there, or is it purely just, an advert?
Yeah, it's actually people know because your company name is on the website. So, you are sponsoring and, it's extra money for the club to buy kits and stuff for the kids as well. So, and then helping the club in different events as well. So, it worked really well.
When you think about then the industry as a whole, and I always sort of am curious about this question, is like, if you were the king of the broking industry for the day, like, is there anything that you would want to change or anything that you would fix to make broking better?
Yeah, Annie, I just had my first clawback. So,
oh no.
And I was like, oh, this is what I'm getting because I have a spreadsheet which tracks everything. And then I got this clawback and I'm like, what can we do? So I think clawback is part of the business, but if it's a scenario where the client is selling their property or it's out of their hands, in this scenario again, the client Mrs. lost her job, so they could not afford an investment property, so they sold the property and there's a clawback. So I would like to have these changes done at least when, if there is a marriage breakdown or in these scenarios, that industry can be a bit more Sympathetic, yes, is the right word.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like, it seems like ludicrous to me that you can have your income clawed back because someone lost their job and they had to sell their house, or someone died and had to sell their house. It's a bit like, that has nothing to do with me.
Because you've done all the work, and I think it's probably the only industry where it can be clawed back for the work that you've done. Yeah,
especially when it's something that takes so long and is such a big part of someone's life. It's not like it's a gym membership that you're referring. It's like, it's a big thing. Okay, and then when you think about the sort of day-to-day operations of a broker, I wonder like what your day looks like. Do you kind of structure it being like, I'm working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5? Do you work into the evening? Like, do you work 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, 4? Like, what does your actual week look like?
So in this month, because it's Ramadan, and obviously I feel more comfortable at night time once I have eaten. So I usually sit for a couple of hours at night, maybe 2-3 hours, because during the day there's meetings and client interviews as well. So I structure it in a way where I spend 3 hours in the morning, so it's a 9 to 12, and then have a break, and then late night from 8 to 11 I'll do a bit of loan writing because I enjoy doing that at night time because it's quiet and you can be 100% focused.
Yeah. And do you find that you don't do any sort of client work in the evening? Like, let's say at the moment, Ramadan Mubarak. Do you do anything with your clients because they might also be out and about finding something to eat? Like, are you kind of working around them?
Yeah, definitely. Even some of the clients, they want to have a meeting on a weekend, especially if you're doing a video, because of the new compliance requirements, and they were in place as well. You have to do a video call, so both have to be present. So that's something I do on the weekend, so both are present, and it's when it's flexible with them.
Yeah. And when it comes to actually kind of shaking off the day and relaxing after a hard day's work or a hard evening's work, do you do anything specifically to unwind and de-stress?
I take my daughter for a walk. So that's one of the highlights of the day. And then I'm a gym person as well. So I do go to gym and have a swim as well. Yeah, so that's my day like.
Where do you go walking? Any nice walks?
I do a 5-kilometer walk around my own house. Yeah, so
in the neighborhood?
Neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And how old's your daughter?
She's 5-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you said take my daughter for a walk, I was like, is she like 20 or? Yeah.
We go to the park.
I assumed she was young. Yeah.
We have a nearby park, so that's the one we take her
you go to. Yeah, fun. When you think about then, if you were going to do your career all over again, if you were going to be a broker just starting out, is there anything that you wish you'd known when you first started?
I wish I would have started broking 6 years ago during COVID time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Why?
I think that's where we have seen there's a lot of brokers who have grown from that time because obviously people have that appetite going into the branches. But since the brokers have come on board, there's a lot of stuff that happens online. So there's more acceptance of the brokers now.
Yeah, I think as well, when I think back at what the interest rates were back then, happy days. I actually got my mortgage in 2022 and I remember looking at the fixed rates and being like, ooh, 5% fixed, that feels very high. And now I'm like, damn, I wish I'd done that. But you know what? It worked out for the better in the end, actually being variable. Ali, thank you so much for joining me today on the New Broker podcast. If you could give any advice to any brokers who are just starting their career, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think if you have the confidence in yourself that you can do it, and when you are starting out early, make sure you pick a good aggregator that can provide a good support network. You're reviewing your files, and also pick up a niche early, and just learn 3-4 policies of different banks. Don't go to all the banks, because if you're going to be get accredited, but only work with 4 or 5 banks, and then once you know your tools, and then you can start going to the other banks as well.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Ramadan, and best of luck with your brokerage Noor Finance into the future.
Thank you so much for that, Annie. Thanks for having me.
If you've got any questions for me or for Ali, then do feel free to reach out. You can reach me at editor@theadvisor.com.au and Ali at Noor Finance here in Campbelltown, Sydney. And of course, pick his brain about what he's been doing, what he's been seeing. And if you're interested in learning more about Sharia finance, then of course, I'm sure he's happy to help. Just volunteered you for that. I hope you don't mind. And have a wonderful week, everyone. If you do want to take a listen back to previous episodes of the podcast, you can find them all on the Advisor Podcast Network. They're also on YouTube now. We do video podcasts. Plus, if you want to find out more about growing your broking business as a new broker, then do make sure you register for our New Broker webcast, which is next on the 3rd of March, next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Sydney time. We'll be doing a live webcast where you can get your questions answered. You can put questions to brokers, associations and aggregators. We have Mortgage Choice, the MFAA, and a Mortgage Choice broker joining us, talking about how they've been building their businesses and what support's out there for new brokers. So really do make sure you register for that one. It's free. And if not, we hope to see you at the Better Business Summit and Better Business Awards, which will be starting next month in going across the country. Better Business Summit this year really focused on taking your brokerage to the next level, running a high structured, high efficient brokerage business. It's going to be fantastic. Some amazing content, some amazing speakers this year. So do make sure you get your ticket for the summit and of course the awards in the evening. And we hope to see you there. We'll catch you next time for another episode on the Advisor Podcast Network.